Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another live stream with me, Lar from Complete Test Success. Today we're doing an essay correction. So late last week, I posted a question and I asked you to write an essay in response. A few people have written essays in the comments. So what I'll do is I'll choose one of those people at random and I'll just give them a full essay correction. So this is pretty much what I would do with the students on my courses and the students who purchase my essay correction service. So it's just take the essay, correct it from start to finish, give the individual band scores, explain the scores, explain how to improve. So that's what we're going to do. We'll just be focusing on one of the essays from the students that have submitted. Prince is here already. Prince, hi Samuel, good to see you guys here. All right, so I think just we'll jump into it. No need to make a big deal out of it. If you submitted your essay, you should be able to see your name on the screen here. Previously, when I've done this, I had people left out where I didn't have the right selection on the comments, and it was just showing me most relevant instead of all of them. So apologies again to those of you who I left out in previous occasions, but I have everyone here today. All right, so I'm just going to click spin and we'll find the winner. And then we'll do the... Okay, so who do we have? 73 My4. I'm just going to say Mike. It's like Mike with the letter 4 in the middle. Okay, well done, Mike. So as you guys can see there, there's the winner, Mike, from here, and that was completely random. So I just need a moment to find Mike's essay and paste it into a document. So you'll just have to give me a moment there to get ready. As I am correcting Mike's essay, if you guys have any questions for me about the feedback I'm giving, or any questions about what Mike would need to do to improve, you can go ahead and ask. So even if I'm not correcting your essay, you can still learn a little bit about, what the examiner's looking for, what types of mistakes are being counted, and so on. Okay. So the first thing is Mike's essay is about 291 words. So it's a good length. 291, not too long, not too short. So that looks good. Okay, so let me just share Mike's essay with you guys here, and then we'll get started. Okay, so that's Mike's essay there. Patience is here. Hey, Patience, good to see you. Congratulations, says Prince. Hi, Lewis, good to see you. Good to see you too. It's been a while. Okay, so let's look at the first chapter of Mike's essay here. And after that, I'll come back in. If anyone has any questions, we can discuss those. So we'll just start with paragraph 1. So the question says, doctors around the world are reporting that people don't get enough exercise these days. So the first sentence should have the same meaning. Doctors worldwide are saying that men and women do not work out enough currently. Do not work out enough. To work out. To work out and to exercise. I think this is a phrase that's kind of come up a few times, where working out, some people use that to mean like lifting weights, and other people use it to mean exercise. So let me just double check that online. Engage in physical exercise or training. So perfect. Yeah, that's completely fine. Okay, so doctors worldwide are saying that men and women do not work out enough currently. The word currently and nowadays, these days. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. And the question says, why are people not getting enough exercise and what can be done about this? So the main reason is that many people do not have time as they work long hours And this can be solved by allowing employees to leave their company an hour before on alternate days. Okay, great. So we have a specific reason. The idea is relevant and specific. And the same with the solution. It's relevant and specific. The question didn't specifically say that we need to have more than one reason or that we need to have more than one solution. It just left it open. So if you decided to go with one solution, one reason and one solution, that would be completely perfect for this question. If you went with 2 reasons and 2 solutions, that would also be acceptable. So either way, that would be fine. And what we have so far is a very strong piece of writing here from Mike. All right, so let me just have a quick look. Let's see if anyone has any questions so far. No, not yet. Great, thank you. You're very welcome. Okay, so what we need then is one paragraph to discuss the reason and one paragraph to discuss the solution. And what I've noticed here is that Mike's first paragraph is 80 words and Mike's second paragraph looks considerably longer. It is 129 words. So the problem with that is, let's say, for example, this paragraph is good enough for a band 9 and this one is good enough for a band 7. Well, then the essay, I mean, I'm talking about task response, then the essay would be a band 7. So having one very, very well-developed paragraph and then having another one that's kind of shorter, it's the shorter one that will determine the score. So try to be balanced. Try to be balanced when you're writing the body paragraphs. Treat each idea equally, and that will do better for your score. Hi Mandeep, good to see you here. Prince, how long my body paragraph should be? So if you're going to have 2 body paragraphs, write about 100 words for each one. If you're going to have 3 body paragraphs, write about 70 words for each one. So it just depends on the number of ideas. So you kind of have to adapt depending on the essay you're writing. Okay, so Mike's reason was that people are working too much. So let's have a look at this paragraph. It is not uncommon that many people work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, it is not uncommon that many people. It is not uncommon for people to work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, you see, uncommon means it happens a lot. So we don't need to say it happens a lot and many people do it, because if it's not uncommon, that already means many people are doing it. So it's like you've kind of said many people 2 times. So we just need to say it once. So it's not uncommon for people to work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. after returning from work. Now, one thing I would add is that we're talking about nowadays or these days. So the question said doctors around the world are reporting that people don't get enough exercise these days. So we're making a comparison to the past, that nowadays this is common, whereas in the past that wasn't necessarily the case. So just to confirm that we're definitely on topic. Nowadays, it's not uncommon for people to work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, my first comment here would be, is it obvious that we're talking about the topic? That people are not doing enough exercise, right? So I would prefer to make it extra clear. Nowadays, people don't do enough exercise because it's not uncommon for people to work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's not 100% necessary to do this. You know, it's not that Mike has made a big mistake by not including it, but why take the risk? Why take the risk that perhaps it's not 100% clear that we're talking about the topic? And, you know, especially if the next sentence doesn't directly talk about doing exercise either, or at least it's quite late in the sentence before exercise is mentioned. Okay, so let's move on. After returning from work, they want to have dinner with their family members, watch TV, and go online to relax. As work-related tasks, so we don't need that bit to be hyphenated, work-related tasks are exhausting them during the day. Maybe have exhausted them, because we're talking about, like, you know, in the recent past, have exhausted them during the day. Now, one thing that you need to be careful of is overgeneralization. So what you're trying to say is that all of the people who don't exercise enough, they want to watch TV and go online when they come home. They want to eat dinner, they want to watch TV, and they want to go online to relax. So it's a kind of an overgeneralization where you're saying everybody who doesn't get enough exercise has the exact same situation, that they're exhausted from work and they want to watch TV, eat with their family, go online. That's not necessarily true. Where you're saying a lot of people work from 9 to 6, that's kind of like, that's not an overgeneralization. You're saying a lot of people do that. But then what you're saying is that every one of those people have these desires once they finish work. So that would be an overgeneralization. Okay. Which leaves them no time to exercise. Now, when we use the word which, the word which is the word which is to connect two pieces of information inside the same sentence. The word which cannot connect two sentences in the way that it's being used here. So we need to adapt that a little bit. So we'll just put it in the same sentence. We go comma which. So after returning from work, they want to have dinner with their family members, watch TV, and go online to relax, as work-related tasks have exhausted them during the day, which leaves them no time to exercise. For example, in SpaceX, employees are expected to work at least 70 hours a week, even on Sundays. Now, 70 hours a week, even on Sundays, isn't right. 70 hours a week and even on Sundays, because that's an extra thing that they're expected to work. These people barely, so we just have a spelling mistake there, barely. These people barely spend time with their children, let alone doing exercise. Okay. So the overgeneralization is an issue. And is SpaceX like a standard situation? So we're talking about people in general. I would prefer, like, I think SpaceX might be the exception. Like, is it that every business in your company, every business in your country expects people to work 70 hours a week? That would be quite unusual, to be honest. So rather than like taking the most extreme example of one company that, you know, works their employees to the bone, what's the situation in general in your country? So, you know, if you were to say something like, you know, in general in my country, a lot of businesses are understaffed because they're finding it difficult to make money, and the employees are expected to work very, very hard because they don't have enough people to, you know, get the amount of work done that needs to be done, something like that. So rather than picking out one example of one company that's has ridiculously high expectations from their staff members, talk about the more common situation. And then just the overgeneralization. So your idea is relevant. You have developed it, but just consider those things. Bros Elon fan, maybe, I don't know. It's not painting SpaceX as a lovely place to work by any means. Work-related tasks exhaust them during the day and leave them with no time to exercise when they get home. Yeah, and that's more general as well. It's not saying that when they get home they want to do A, B, and C. It's that when they get home they don't have time to exercise, or they're not in the mood to exercise. Rather than, you know, they all really want to watch TV and they all really want to go online and they all really want to watch to eat food with their families. So just avoid that overgeneralization. I compared past with the present in my essay. I hope you read it too. I'm not going to have time to read more, but comparing the past with the present is necessary, because we are comparing, like, people aren't doing enough exercise these days as opposed to they used to, but now they're not. Hang on, are you late for this? Not necessarily. And obviously there's going to be the recording as well. Once we're finished here, the recording will go up online. Okay, so we're kind of looking at a band 7 here in terms of task response. Good relevant main idea, but then with the development, kind of overgeneralization, and that example wouldn't necessarily be an explanation for why the majority of people aren't doing enough exercise. It would be more like this one extreme company. Okay, so let's look at the next idea, just remind myself. So in the introduction, employees can leave their company an hour before, maybe I should have changed that, an hour early on alternate days. Yeah. Okay. Fortunately, there is a solution for this, which employers can allow their workers. Okay, so which is that employers can allow their workers to get adequate exercise. So I would like you to state your main idea directly in here. Like earlier on, you said employees can leave work an hour early on alternate days. Very specific. Here, employers can allow their workers to get adequate exercise. Like how or where is this happening? So what's happening then is, instead of having the main idea here, I need to wait until later in your essay to find out what it is. So just state the main idea directly in the first sentence and get on with it, because your main ideas will bring you up to a band 6, and it's the development of the main ideas that will bring you from a 6 up to a 7, up to an 8, up to a 9. So rather than just having a sentence with no real influence on your score, just get straight into the topic. This can be done by dividing a particular company's by dividing a, like, we don't need particular, like a particular is like a specific company. We're talking about any company. So by dividing a company's personnel into 2 groups, 3 days a week, one group leaves the company an hour early. So you would have to say an hour before the normal finishing time, or just say an hour early has the same meaning. And others can do the same thing on the left days, on the other days. This is very effective because the people in the company can compensate for the work in order to meet the company's goals. The people in the company. So they're all in the company. So you're saying the people who didn't go home early, the people who don't go home early can compensate for the work, can do the work in order to meet the company's goals. Take China Railways as an example, in which it is important for workers to go to the gym at least 3 days a week, even during work days. They already realized the importance of doing exercise for not only for physical well-being, but also mental health. With a healthy body and brain, employees can work productively. So in this example of China Railways, it didn't say that they're letting the staff leave an hour early on alternate days. It just said that they realized the importance of doing exercise and that they need to go to the gym at least 3 days a week. So your main idea is staff go home an hour early on alternate days to do exercise, but the example doesn't say anything about that. So essentially that example isn't supporting the idea that you discussed. Your first sentence wasn't about your idea. So what we do then is we see that your development, the part that's going to push your score, so you already had a band 6 with your ideas in the introduction. So this is the only part of your paragraph that's pushing you from up above a band 6. Okay, so this is a band 7 for task response for this essay. So the example is irrelevant. The first sentence isn't doing anything. And like we said already, we had some kind of overgeneralization in the explanation of the previous paragraph. And the example didn't really help us to understand why people in general don't get enough exercise. Okay. So let me just have a quick look at the comments. Let's see if anyone has any questions, and then we'll take a look at the conclusion. Can we write contractions in IELTS? Yes, absolutely. So previously, contractions in English were considered informal. So academic essays in university, things like that, we were told do not use contractions in academic writing. But, you know, as the language evolves and, you know, I guess as time goes on, people care less and less about it. So contractions now are not seen as informal in the way that they were in the past. So a lot of people, they still have that idea, like they still, you know, they feel that contractions aren't suitable. But in the IELTS test, it's not a consideration. It's absolutely no problem to use contractions. The only place that I would consider it is in task 1 if you're doing general training IELTS, because in general training IELTS, you've got to like really establish that I'm definitely following a formal style or I'm definitely following an informal style. And that can just be one extra little way to kind of hammer that home. But in general, no, it's fine to use contractions, especially in task 2. And if you're doing academic IELTS in task 1, it's fine as well. Okay, so let's look at the conclusion. In conclusion, it is true that many people fail to exercise enough today. And not really, let's say these days. And the main reason is not having enough time. No, because we've already established that people is the subject of the sentence, so we're not going to swap to a passive here. So the main reason is that they don't have enough time, and this can be tackled by giving some time for people, to work out, by giving people some time to work out. By giving maybe employees, let's just make it like extra clear that that's what the idea was. By giving employees some time to work out, like each week or something like that. Okay. So like we said, a band 7 for task response. Let me just have a quick look at the questions and then we'll go through the other scores. If I don't refer to the past using comparisons in this essay, can I still get a good score for task achievement? Yeah, as long as you're clearly describing the situation, why people are not doing enough exercise. So here it's like people are working more. I think it could have been clearer to say people are working more now than they were in the past. That definitely would have been clearer. But the way it's written here is absolutely fine. Ling, you're very welcome. Okay, so let's have a look then for coherence and cohesion. I think making it extra clear that we're talking about nowadays and that we're talking about the idea that people don't do enough exercise, that does clarify it a little bit more. Using the word which incorrectly, so that pronoun mistake there, that would be considered part of coherence and cohesion. Missing the word and here, that would be another issue. The left days instead of the other days, that could be considered as coherence and cohesion. Missing the word and again here. Okay, but we'd still get a band 7 here for coherence and cohesion. Vocab would be a band 7. There's a good range, but there are a few mistakes that we've already looked at. Not too many mistakes to drag it down to a band 6, but collocation mistakes, word choice mistakes, spelling mistakes. So there's enough sprinkled through the essay to bring that to a band 7 for vocab. And the last one is grammar. So grammar, we're looking for error-free sentences. So here we're all good. These in alternate days, on alternate days. So that's a preposition mistake. There's another preposition mistake there. Punctuation mistake, auxiliary verb mistake, sentence structure. That's error-free because that's just a vocab mistake. So sentence structure again. That is error-free. Preposition mistake. There's some more error-free sentences here. More here. Preposition mistake again. Okay, so that's actually enough error-free sentences for a band 7. So we're looking at a band 7 for every score. Task response, coherence and cohesion, vocab, grammar, every one of them are band 7. So this would be an overall band 7 for this. In terms of grammar, it seems like preposition mistakes and sentence structure mistakes are the most common ones. So Mike, those would be the areas of grammar. If you were looking to get a higher score in grammar, those would be the areas you need to focus on. I think your task response score is going to be the easiest one to improve. You just need to make sure that you're not overgeneralizing in your explanations and that your examples are more directly related to the topic given. Coherence and cohesion, a few mistakes with relative pronouns and conjunctions. Those, again, wouldn't be too difficult to improve. So if you wanted to improve your scores, your current 7 up to a 7.5, just focusing on those mistakes related to task response and coherence and cohesion, those would be the ones that would bring you up more quickly. If for some reason you needed a band 8, you would need to address those sentence structure mistakes and those preposition mistakes in grammar. And then vocab would be the one that's going to take you the longest time to improve, because improving vocab takes a very long time. And obviously, if that's a goal, if your goal is to get a band 8, you'd probably want to prioritize vocab because that's the one that's going to slow you down most. And again, it just depends on what score you need. I mean, if you need a 6.5, fantastic. Looks like you're ready for the test. That, of course, would depend on how long it took you to write the essay. So if you wrote that essay in 40 minutes, then you're absolutely ready for the test. If you need a band 7, it looks like you're ready for the test, again, presuming you wrote it in 40 minutes. If you need a band 7, but that essay took you 60 minutes, of course, you would need to start working on how long it takes. If you need a band 7.5, you need to start working on task response and coherence and cohesion. And if you need a band 8, you need to improve everything. Of course, when I'm working with students directly, I know what scores they need. So I'm going to give them more specific advice to their specific situation. But with Mike here today, I don't know what score he's aiming for. So let's see, do we have any other questions here at the moment? Thank you, Lewis. Lewis, if I don't know of any company that allows employees to leave an hour early, can I make up an example? Absolutely, yeah, 100%. So, it could even be like, one of the factories in my hometown allows people to leave, allows staff, basically allows us to do the thing that we were talking about in the question. But yeah, you don't need to name the company. You could say there's a company in my hometown, there's a factory in my hometown, they do this, and they've seen improvements in the fitness level of the employees since they've introduced this initiative, something like that. Yeah, absolutely, you can make it up, no problem. Thank you. My exam is on 25th, very soon. Best of luck. Are you, Mike, are you the person who wrote this essay? It doesn't look like it. So you need 7. Okay. So if that's Mike, you're in a good situation. Do a bit more practice, get yourself down to 40 minutes. I'm not sure if it is or it isn't. It's a different name coming up on the screen. It's you. Okay, well done. It looks like you're pretty much ready for the test. That's good news. Best of luck on the 25th. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. If anybody wants essay corrections or to join my IELTS course, just reach out. And that's it for today. We'll have another live stream next week. And what we'll do is probably just focus on one question together rather than just focusing on one person's essay, but building up an essay together in the lesson. So that's it for today. Take care, everybody. Well done, Mike. And bye-bye. See you next week.